This beautiful bucolic setting in Beijing is a very historic site, a site of great importance in China's history. We're at the Grand Canal, a monumental human construction and a monumental human achievement. The Grand Canal stretches from where we are, Beijing, at its northern end, southward 1,700 kilometers to the city of Hangzhou on the Yangtze River. Beijing, which is in the northern plain of China, near the Yellow River, therefore is connected 1,700 kilometers by the Grand Canal to the Yangtze River, which runs east and west south of the Yellow River. China, like so many other places in the world, is a civilization that was built along its great rivers. Think of Egypt and the Nile. Think of the kingdoms of Mesopotamia, Babylonia, Assyria, built along the Tigris and the Euphrates. Think of northern India along the Ganges and the Indus River. I think of my own city, New York City, which would not be what it is if it were not for the Hudson River. So many of the world's great civilizations were built along the world's great rivers because the rivers could provide so many vital goods and services on which civilization depends. Of course, fresh water itself, water for irrigation of crops, the sediments carried by the rivers for growing food, transportation services, marine life, which is vital for the proteins of human diets of people living along the rivers and other places trading with the riverine civilizations. And China fits that pattern. Now, when we think of China, of course, as is so important to emphasize, China today we can think of as a large rectangle. On the north are the drylands, on the south are the tropical rainforest areas of Southeast Asia, on the east coast, the ocean, and on the west, the Tibetan Plateau, the Himalayan mountains. And it is the Himalayan mountains, the highlands of China's west, where the great rivers of China rise. And three great rivers of China have played a decisive role in China's history. The most northern of the rivers, the Yellow River, can be considered indeed the cradle of Chinese civilization itself, where we are now in the North China Plain, fed by the Yellow River. The Yellow River providing all of those services, the water, the transport, the alluvial nutrients, and so much more that enabled a great civilization to have its birth and to support a vast population. The second of the great rivers of China, also flowing from the western mountains, the Tibetan Plateau, is the Yangtze River. The Yangtze's, in fact, the longest river of China, the Yellow River being the second longest, and the Yangtze River is the longest river that flows within one country. It is the third longest river in the world, behind the Nile and the Amazon, but it is the longest within one country, not flowing through several countries. And the third of these great rivers that rises in the west and flows towards the east is the Pearl River. The Pearl River also has given rise to a central part of China's civilization and a core part of China's economy. So if we think of China as this rectangle bounded on the north by desert and drylands, on the south by rainforests that are the rainforests of Southeast Asia, on the east by the Pacific Ocean, and on the west by the high mountains of the Himalayas. China can be divided into a northern, middle, and southern great east-west river system, the Yellow River, the Yangtze River, and the Pearl River as the three great rivers. And each of them has given rise to three great parts of the Chinese economy, and each has played a basic role in China's history. So three river systems, Yellow, Yangtze, and Pearl river systems, each creating a massive center of civilization and culture and economic life, and interconnected for centuries by the Grand Canal.